All right, so this one, I feel like, at least in this show, we're pretty good at dissecting these press conferences.
Yeah. Reading between the lines.
Yeah, I think we've been that.
It's
Interesting. I think we fucking called this offseason beautifully. Even the draft to a certain point, at least the very first round. Today, I don't know, Spinny. Like, we played the clip yesterday of Dan Campbell saying that he's looking for like rotation guys,
role player
guys, or maybe just two of them, right? And then today, I have a long clip I could have sent, but I also sent a shorter one that felt like more detailed, more interesting to me, honestly.
Interesting.
Today, now it sounds like they're on the phone trying to get people.
Yeah.
This is Dan Campbell today, and then there's also news breaking from, who was his name? Fowler?
Jeremy Fowler
of ESPN, but this is Dan Campbell during his press conference today.
You guys.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say that it's more about that. I think it's about, man, we're doing your homework. You know, you're digging through things, not just what's on the tape, but what else is out there that you don't quite know about, you know, and you check on somebody and it's like, well, you know, I may be open to it, but you got 24 hours. Well, okay, something's going on, you know. So, look, Brad's on it. He's looking at everything. Nothing's off the table, but we're not in a hurry. We're not in a hurry.
There's multiple things in it to break down. The first... Well, first, actually, most exciting piece, nothing's off the table.
Nothing's off the table, folks.
And in that presser, when he was asked those questions, he was asked specifically about a high-end edge rusher. And that's how that question came about. I'll send a long one, actually, during the break while you're talking. But the other part is
it's a break long.
Somebody told them they had 24 hours to make the decision. Who was that about?
24 hours to make the decision.
And then he kind of called him out there, too, like, something's kind of up with that.
Yeah. Wait, the person...
Right?
The team told the Lions they have 24 hours to make the decision?
Either the team and or if it's the person that was reportedly contacted today, which was Hassan Reddick. Maybe it could have been him, too.
Yeah, there was reports that the Lions reached out to the New York Jets about edge rusher.
When you're a Jet,
outside
you're a Jet.
linebacker Hassan Reddick. So we'll see what happens there. But sounds like they're making calls. Sounds like they're... And Hassan Reddick can be seen as a role player, I guess, because he is not a complete edge by any reason. He is not a complete defensive end. He's just strictly an outside linebacker that's going to get after the quarterback. And we know they're not too favorable about guys like that, but if they're calling for him, who else are they calling for? That's what I want to know. Are they calling Las Vegas? Are they calling Cleveland? Are these some guys that we can get? Because he's literally said nothing's off the table, and that means Max Crosby is on the table.
Whoa!
That's what it means.
You're going there.
I mean, yeah, that's what it means. He said nothing's off the table.
Oh, it's
Max Crosby is a part of that, you know, so obviously... Again, that's a long shot that I could only dream of, but I like that. I like that. It's better than Dan Campbell coming up here and saying, "No, we're just gonna go with the guys we got, or we trust our dudes. We're comfortable with our locker room." They know. This is Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes showing they know. They know they need to address that. They know they need to replace some of the production that Aiden Hutchinson was giving you, or they wouldn't be on the phone calling other teams asking for high-level pass rushers like Hassan Reddick. That proves to you that they are serious about winning a Super Bowl. That proves to you that they know that they need to replace some of that production with Aiden Hutchinson, or they don't think they have what it takes to get it done. And I agree with them. You need to do that. Like I said, you need to at least bring in a guy that's going to get you 10 sacks at the very least. That's what I need. You need a guy at the end of the year on this team who's got double-digit sacks, who is not on the team right now. And there are some names out there.
They're actively looking for somebody. So for those of you, I'm not going to tell you to eat a dick or anything like that, but like for those of you who said, oh, it's not going to happen, we're fine how it is, well, you guys just don't trust them. They're actively looking for somebody right now, and he's openly talking about it. You guys can suck that dick. I told you
that shit was
so...
You guys don't trust the team. You don't trust the coaching staff. Well, they don't either then, apparently.
Yeah, you just don't know fucking ball, brother. This scheme, as we said yesterday, is a man coverage scheme. You know what marries a man coverage scheme? Is pass rush. One thing that makes me think that Hassan Reddick stuff is supremely on the table, and it's weird because in one sense, Brad does not pay people outside this organization that he hasn't drafted or has previous relationships with these coaches. That doesn't happen. That's not the thing with Hassan Reddick. That's not a situation there. But at the same time, he's probably the most affordable guy because of the stalemate he's having with the Jets right now, and they need to recuperate their losses before the end of the season.
And here's Dr. Mario in the Woodward Sports Chat.
Dr. Mario.
Here we go again. The sky is falling. If you don't think that losing both of your starting edge rushers from a team trying to make the Super Bowl is important, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know how I could convince you more that losing both starting edge rushers from a team that's trying to win the Super Bowl is pretty important to the chances of that team winning the Super Bowl. The three most important positions in football are quarterback, a guy to protect the quarterback, and a guy to kill the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So when you lost both your guys that you expected to kill the quarterback in a year, we're trying to win the Super Bowl, you might want to do something to fix that. But you stop being so negative. You trust the guys you have. You guys sound like pussies.
Which it's not even that, though. Like, they're openly talking about acquiring somebody. And Chris, did you download those pictures I sent?
I did.
T-Mac says Davenport wasn't really a starter. Yes, he was.
He was a
started
starter.
every game he played.
Yeah, that's not.
So he was signed, and during camp was given the role of starting defensive end, opposite Aiden Hutchinson.
I already know this is going to take over multiple segments, and I'm here for it. But just on the front of like the reason why they're looking for somebody, on top of just the schematics in itself, real quick, Chris, I don't know what order you did them in. You could just throw any of them up. But yesterday, I spoke on how I felt on acquiring someone. After the show, I did a little bit more homework, and I sent you the same tweet too.
Yeah.
Look at the most recent Super Bowl champions in the modern era. Every single one of those teams had a demon tier pass rushing tandem or just a fucking stud.
Yes.
And examples for you guys to refresh your memories a little bit. Just as recently as last year. Actually, the team is dominating the NFL right now. Chris Jones.
Won a couple of them things.
On top of it, Carl Loftus, Frank Clark we talked about. Mm-hmm. Give me another team. They got 3 Super Bowls, by the way. Chris Jones had 3 Super Bowl rings on his finger.
Yeah.
I think before that one, I sent in, you put whatever one up. I can go off of them.
Yeah.
Buccaneers. And I see a picture of this one's New York Giants. So that's going back. That's spinning kind of the point that he made. 3 most important positions: a quarterback, a guy to protect the quarterback, and a guy to kill the quarterback. Justin Tuck, Jason Pierre-Paul, Michael Strahan, Chris Canty. These guys gave Tom Brady hell. They ruined a team that went 17-0.
Ew.
Those are the guys that took him out. Trey Flowers. Trey Flowers. Chandler Jones. You don't got any shit. Keep them going. A demon pass rushing tier is what you need to win a Super Bowl. It helps you. At least.
Yes.
That's a common characteristic of every single Super Bowl champion in the last 10 years.
Yeah, if you don't get to the quarterback, you're not going to win a lot of games in the NFL.
And then guess what Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell are doing right now?
Trying to find someone.
They're trying to find someone.
And that's, where was it? I'm Salty in the Woodward Sports Chat. Shout out. He said, trust in Brad Holmes. Look what he built us, in all caps. I think he's being a little, joking a little while. And I do trust Brad Holmes.
Yeah.
I trust Brad Holmes to go get an edge rusher to bring to this team. I trust Brad Holmes to go get a guy to improve your defensive pass rush. And that's, by all accounts, he picked up the phone and started dialing. These guys are making calls. They're looking. They're like Dan Campbell said, nothing is off the table. So expect somebody. And like I said, even I said, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, those are pipe dreams. Those are best case scenarios. But they're both realistic. It's not like it's like trade for Tom Brady in his prime kind of thing. They're realistic in situations where it could happen. But Zadarius Smith, Trey Hendrickson, different guys like that, I could very well see happening. They're bringing in somebody. Like I said, the leading pass rusher on this team this year isn't on this team yet.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly believe that. The guy who leads this team in sacks is not on the roster right now.
Von Miller. DeMarcus Ware.
Oh, God, that team is so scary.
Terrell Suggs.
Yeah.
Jason Pierre-Paul.
Alden Smith.
Go back 10 years. Alden Smith. That's even getting there. They didn't cash one in, but they still got there.
Yeah.
It matters, guys. It's a common characteristic of every single Super Bowl champion going back to forever. But Nick, do you have something real quick before we went to break?
Yeah, one of those guys that we just talked about, obviously Hassan Reddick, 50.5 sacks over the last 5 years. But if he does get moved, it would be his 5th team within those 5 years. Does that concern you at all, fellas?
Really?
What'd you say?
If he gets moved, that would be his 5th team within the last 5 years.
Hassan Reddick?
And he has 50.5 sacks. Would that be concerning to you guys at all?
He's a gun for hire.
Yeah.
He's a mercenary.
Yeah. That's what he is. If they feel like he's a fit for this team and they feel like he'll play, I love it because I've seen what he can do on the biggest stage. I've seen what he can do in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl, affecting games, getting sacks, making things happen.
And if I'm being honest, Nick, that just proves he works in almost any system.
Yes.
That's a guy that's fucking plug and play. Mm-hmm. The people that commented the character stuff, obviously they don't give a shit if they made contact with Drew Rosenhaus and had a conversation.
Imagine what we saw last week after Aiden Hutchinson went out. But instead of Trevor Nowalski rushing the passer from that Sam spot, it's Haason Reddick.
Well, dude, even going back to the clip we played yesterday, if you catch the tail end of it, he's talking about guys that could drop back into coverage or rush the quarterback. That's what Haason Reddick.
Yes.
That's what he does.
He plays Sam. He would play the Sam on this team. And you could have Pascal and Levi out there with Haason Reddick. So we'll see. We'll see. Again, they're getting somebody for sure. Like I said, the player that will lead the Detroit Lions in sacks this season isn't on the roster yet.
And if it's somebody that's under contract, I'm talking about for more than this year, and then you get to
bring
combine
Aiden back.
that guy in Hutch. How do you not get yourself excited
Good
about that?
lordy wardy.
We're going to talk about it. We got to go to break, though. We got to pay some bills.
Kenny Powers, real quick before we go to break. Kenny Powers in the Woodward Sports Chat. Big fan of your work, Kenny. He says, fifth injury on the defensive line, 3 out of the year, and 2 were starters. It's not hard to see why we need to bring someone in.
Yeah.
100%.
We wanted somebody when Davenport went down.
Someone knows about winning. It's Kenny Powers.